I would like to introduce you to the science fiction simulation game Battletech. Battletech has been around since the mid-80s of the last century. It mainly simulates ground battles in the 31st century, which are fought with huge, mostly humanoid fighting machines called battlemechs. In addition to the battlemechs, tanks, infantry and artillery also roam the battlefields. They are supported by air forces in the form of fighters, bombers, helicopters and landing ships for interplanetary transportation. And for those who like it big, they can go into space and fight space battles with warships and corresponding support units. Battletech is mainly played between two parties on pre-printed maps. However, there is also a tabletop version. Each side selects troops from the respective environment from their own faction list up to a pre-agreed point limit, or the players agree on a special scenario to recreate an event from the extensive background. The main protagonists, the battlemechs, have clear advantages over the other combat units and usually take the brunt of the fighting. However, the other types of units also have their strengths and should not be underestimated if used correctly. Those who are content with battlemechs, usually just called mechs, will get by just fine with the Battlemech Manual Rulebook. The basic rulebook, Total Warfare, is required to utilize the entire arsenal of weapons that can be used in combat on the planet's surface. If that's not enough, you can use tactical operations to expand your battles with weather, deviating planetary conditions, various option rules that greatly increase the possibilities and realism, although not necessarily the playability, and a wide selection of experimental weapon systems that can be installed in the various combat machines. With the technical handbook, you can build your own mechs, tanks, space fighters, and all sort of other stuff. This shows the ingenuity of the game designers. A mech from the technical readouts 3025, the books in which the war machines are described are known as technical readouts, is just as compliant with the rules today as it was 35 years ago. The rule book has only changed in minor details over the years, but not in the basic rules. So, if you played Battletech 25 years ago, you could unpack your mechs today without having to worry that you no longer know the rules. The background currently spans over 600 years, divided into different eras, whereby mechs, tanks and all sort of other combat units from earlier eras can still be used later without any problems. This is even planned in the background, as mechs are often owned by families and passed down through generations. In the current timeline, there are 10 major and just as many minor playable factions, with some factions in reserve that have not been written about much so far, but which can come to the fore at any time. If you don't want to commit yourself to one faction, you can also hire yourself out as a mercenary and change your allegiance accordingly. The list of combat vehicles permitted to a faction can be found in the MUL, the Master Unit List. This is available online for free download, so there are no usual army books or similar. The previously mentioned technical readouts always represent the current material of a particular era, whereby the development of new war machines progresses faster in times of war. Between the year 3025 and 3085, the period in which the old main storyline took place, there were a total of 10 technical readouts, after which there is a time gap until the year 3145, which brings us to the current timeline, the year 3152. Although the majority of new publications always deal with the current timeline, there are also publications for previous timelines that take up a particular campaign or similar event and examine it in detail. Unlike most other science fiction universes, there are no aliens in Battletech. All factions are human, although some make use of genetic or bionic. New technology is also available to all factions in a relatively short time, which means that the two sides in the Battletech game are fairly balanced, and the winner is decided by skill rather than better combinations of rules or units. In its almost 40 years of existence, Battletech has been declared dead several times, mainly by retailers, but has always managed to stay on the market despite the demise of several licensees, including the original publisher FASA. Since 2018, Battletech has been heading in a completely new direction. The introduction of very high-quality plastic miniatures, which are offered at a very good price, and the simultaneous revision of mechs that are as old as the game, has given Battletech a new lease of life. With the beginner box and the starter box, a game of armored combat, it is very easy to get started and you get high quality game material for your money. The starter boxes are so profitable that many old players buy these boxes, as the value of the game material far exceeds the price. In the coming videos, I will introduce you to this simulation and explain the rules, units, factions and tactics in detail. Have fun watching, and I look forward to welcoming you to the other videos.